Every human being carries a unique rhythm within themselves, a rhythm that shapes how they see the world, how they process experiences, and how they connect with others. For centuries, people have been trying to understand why some thrive in the midst of noise and chaos, while others find peace only in silence and solitude. Some are energized by the crowd, while others feel drained. Some crave adventure and expression, while others prefer quiet reflection. This is where the concepts of introverts, extroverts, and ambiverts come into play. These personality categories are not just labels. They are keys that unlock deeper understanding of yourself and others. The question is, are you an introvert, an extrovert, or an ambivert? And more importantly, what does that mean for the life you live? Let's start with introverts. Imagine someone who walks into a busy party, smiles politely, engages in a few conversations, but after some time begins to feel their energy slowly slipping away. For them, social interactions, while not unpleasant, require effort. They need time alone afterward to recharge. Introverts live primarily in their inner worlds. Their thoughts, emotions, and imaginations are rich and often more comforting than external stimulation. If you've ever been someone who chooses a night with a good book over going out, or finds joy in deep one-on-one conversations rather than group chatter, you might lean towards introversion. Introverts are often labeled as shy, but that's a misconception. Shyness is rooted in fear of judgment, while introversion is about energy direction. An introvert can be confident, outspoken, and charismatic, yet still feel drained after too much external engagement. They recharge best in solitude, and that's not a weakness, it's their strength. Now on the other side, we find extroverts. Picture a person who steps into the same party and immediately lights up. They thrive on the chatter, the laughter, the energy bouncing between people. Their batteries charge not when they're alone, but when they're surrounded by others. Extroverts feel alive when they're engaging with the outside world. For them, silence can feel heavy, and too much solitude can bring restlessness. Extroverts process their thoughts by talking them out loud, brainstorming with others, and immersing themselves in activities. They find stimulation in the external world, and that stimulation fuels their growth. Extroverts often excel in group settings, networking, leadership roles, or anywhere where communication is key. Yet it's important to note that being extroverted doesn't mean someone is always confident or never feels lonely. What it does mean is that their energy, creativity, and sense of fulfillment often depend on external interaction and engagement. But here's where it gets interesting. Not everyone fits neatly into the box of introvert or extrovert. Many people live in the space between these extremes. These are ambiverts, the balance keepers. Ambiverts have traits of both introversion and extroversion, and they can move between the two depending on the situation. Imagine someone who enjoys going to the party and engaging fully, but afterward craves time alone to recharge. Or someone who can lead a group project confidently but also thrives working independently. Ambiverts adapt. They don't feel trapped in one mode. Instead, they can shift depending on the environment, the people around them, and their own emotional state. For many, being an ambivert feels like having the best of both worlds. They can step into the spotlight when needed, but they also know how to retreat into silence and reflection without guilt. Ambiverts often find it easier to build relationships because they can connect with both introverts and extroverts. So how do you know which one you are? The answer lies in understanding how you gain and lose energy. Ask yourself, after a long day of interacting with people, do you feel alive and fueled, or do you feel drained and in need of solitude? If you feel the latter, you may lean introvert. If you feel energized, you may lean extrovert. And if your answer depends entirely on the context, then ambivert is likely where you fall. This isn't about boxing yourself in. It's about recognizing your natural tendencies so that you can live in alignment with them. Let's go deeper into introversion for a moment. Introverts are often misunderstood in a world that glorifies loudness and visibility. People may mistake their need for quiet as weakness, or assume their reserved nature means they lack ambition. Yet, introverts have powerful qualities. They are often great listeners, deep thinkers, and creators who bring unique insights into the world. They thrive in environments where focus, reflection, and detail are valued. Many great artists, writers, philosophers, and inventors were introverts who drew strength from their inner worlds. Their ability to sit with silence, to reflect deeply, and to build rich inner landscapes makes them invaluable in areas that require patience and creativity. But introverts also struggle in settings that demand constant interaction. Offices filled with noise, constant group meetings, and overly social expectations can leave them drained. That's why it's essential for introverts to create boundaries and carve out time for solitude without guilt. Extroverts, on the other hand, thrive in environments where energy and collaboration dominate. They are often seen as charismatic leaders, motivators, and connectors. Extroverts bring life to social spaces. They can strike up conversations with strangers, adapt quickly to new environments, and find joy in community. Many extroverts flourish in fields like sales, teaching, public speaking, and team leadership because their natural energy inspires others. But extroverts also face challenges. Their need for stimulation can sometimes make them avoid introspection. Too much external activity without self-reflection may leave them disconnected from their inner world. Silence and stillness may feel uncomfortable, yet those moments are necessary for balance. Extroverts often need to practice slowing down, pausing, and creating moments of solitude to recharge in a different way. While they may not crave it, these practices prevent burnout and help them connect with deeper aspects of themselves. Ambiverts live with flexibility. They can thrive in social settings when they choose to, but they can also withdraw without feeling conflicted. In fact, ambiverts often find themselves misunderstood because others may try to categorize them as either introvert or extrovert. One day they might be the life of the party, and the next day they might ignore calls to enjoy peace at home. Ambiverts understand that personality is not rigid but fluid, and they embrace this duality. This adaptability often makes them excellent communicators, negotiators, and friends. They can listen deeply like introverts while also engaging energetically like extroverts. Ambiverts tend to find balance in both solitude and connection, and this makes them versatile in a way that few people are. The world needs all three types. Introverts bring depth, creativity, and reflection. Extroverts bring energy, connection, and outward growth. Ambiverts bring balance, adaptability, and harmony between the two extremes. None of these categories is better than the other. Each one carries strengths and challenges, and knowing where you stand helps you create a life that honors your energy flow. Too often, people try to force themselves into a mold that doesn't fit. An introvert might feel pressured to always be social because society rewards extroversion. An extrovert might feel shamed for not enjoying solitude. An ambivert might feel conflicted for not fully identifying with either side. But the truth is, embracing your authentic self gives you power. When you understand your type, you stop fighting your natural rhythm and start working with it. Now let's look at how these traits show up in everyday life. In relationships, for instance, an introvert might value deep, meaningful conversations with their partner, while an extrovert might crave shared adventures and constant interaction. Ambiverts often shift depending on their partner's needs. At work, an introvert might excel at tasks that require focus and concentration, while an extrovert thrives in networking and collaborative environments. Ambiverts can bridge the gap, bringing harmony to teams by adjusting their approach as needed. In personal growth, introverts might discover strength through journaling, meditation, or creative expression, while extroverts might find inspiration through socializing, public speaking, or group activities. Ambiverts find joy in exploring both paths. The key is to stop comparing yourself to others and instead ask, how do I naturally recharge, and how can I create a life that respects that? So introvert, extrovert, or ambivert, which one are you? The truth is, you might not fit perfectly into one definition, and that's okay. What matters most is awareness. When you recognize your patterns, you give yourself permission to honor them. If you're an introvert, allow yourself solitude without guilt. If you're an extrovert, embrace your need for connection without shame. If you're an ambivert, celebrate your adaptability instead of feeling confused. The goal isn't to label yourself, but to live authentically according to your natural energy flow.